Hey everybody, happy Wednesday to you. It's Out of Bounds with Dillon James right here on JDF Sports. We are back on JDF Sports. We're excited to get back to the old stomping grounds of our old name. We were JDF Sports, then JDF Media. Now we're shifting back over to the original brand of JDF Sports. So I'm glad you all are tuning in this evening. Feel free to pop in the comments below as well. We are streaming live on YouTube this evening. We also have the link out on our Facebook page too, so hopefully we'll get some more viewers from that channel as well. But I am joined by Tyler Sorensen, none other than the producer slash co-host here of Out of Bounds. Tyler, it's been a few weeks since we've talked. The last time we spoke was during the Super Bowl after party, I guess you could call it, the week after the Super Bowl, talking about the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Kansas City Chiefs, stopping the three-peat, but now we are focused on the 25-26 season. Free agency is upon us. We have a lot of free agency news to talk about this evening, a lot of big names going to new places, and a lot of big names who are still on the market. But before we get into all of that, how have you been the past few weeks? What have you been up to? And are you excited about this new season for your Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, I'm so starting off, life's been good. Just working daily, working. Gotta get the grind going. Life's been good. Excited for this new season. I think Packer fans, this is going to be my hot take. We'll talk. We could probably talk about this a little bit later on, but I think Packer fans are spoiled too much a little bit right now. We got better in the trenches. We got a better defensive back. Two things I was really clamoring for. And I think honestly, I'm excited for this year. I think our best opportunity to get better is just, hey, let's get another year older. Hopefully these guys take some practice reps and everything like that. And I'm excited to sort of see what the next season has going for us, especially with upgrades throughout the entirety of the NFL too. We'll talk about a few other teams as well in my own division that I think got pretty good. But I mean, I'm excited. This new season is finally upon us. It feels like just yesterday we were talking about crowning the just yesterday we were talking about starting the 2024 season, and now we're about to start the 2025 season in just a few months.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. It was nice to be away for a few weeks to get a little refreshed, get a little recharged going into this new season, because there is going to be a lot to talk about, especially with the Tennessee Titans having the #1 overall draft pick in Tennessee. A lot of conversation, Tyler, happening in Nashville in the radio market. I'm already drained from listening to media members from Nashville and these radio disc jockeys talking about the Titans and talking about Cam Ward and talking about trading Will Levis, and it's a lot. It's a lot. So we'll talk more about that later in the show. We talked a little bit more about it last week in our Welcome Back to JDF Sports episode. If you missed that show, check it out on our YouTube channel. It is one of our previous shows here. So it is live on our main profile page for JDF Sports. So check that out. But a lot going on here in Nashville. So we will talk more about that in a little while. It looks like we got Kevin Fitzmaurice in the chat, founder of JDF Sports /media/sports. What's up, boys? He says, Patriots are doing some big things. Big things in free agency. Mike Vrabel's in town. A lot of big moves. Another big move potentially happening, and he already puts it here. Stephon Diggs is already visiting with the Patriots tonight, it looks like. So potentially, not necessarily a solution at wide receiver. I think an addition at wide receiver is a good thing for the Patriots, because there's not much help there in the wide receiver department. So I think Stephon Diggs can help there. He actually was pretty productive in Houston for the few games he played in up until his ACL injury. The only bad thing about Stephon Diggs, he probably won't be available week 1. But if you can get him in, if you can build that chemistry with Drake May and potentially have a weapon there at wide receiver, like on Stephon Diggs, he's not going to be like the Buffalo Bills Stephon Diggs that we knew with Josh Allen. I don't think we're expecting that from him. But I think he can elevate the wide receiver room there in New England very easily, because, again, who else do they really have? And Kevin says he's not the solution, but he helps. I believe we draft Hunter if he's going to be a wide receiver.
I mean, the first 5 picks in the draft are going to be insane.
Yeah.
because if you, I don't know if obviously I know we're gonna do like probably a draft episode in a little bit here in like a few weeks before the draft happens. I know I'll be up there. I've already got signed up and everything for it. I'm excited to go.
We
It's
might
gonna
need
be
to. So we're doing a live show. Fitz is actually hosting a live show for the draft. We'll talk more about. We'll get more details about later on down the line for JDF Sports. But during that, we might need to have a correspondent, Tyler Sorensen aspect for that as well. That you can kind of tune in and give us some more of the of what's going on in the ground there in Green Bay when the draft happens. I'm sure Fitz would love that. Yeah, that would be crazy. It's crazy that it's there in your backyard. And
basically it's like 3 hours north of me, so it's right there. The one thing that does suck though is I feel like all these media teams, like Pat McAfee came out, they said they're not going to be doing a draft show in Green Bay. A few other podcasts I listen to that do live draft shows are going to be doing it in Chicago. I'm like, come up to Green Bay. I know it's a small town, or go to like Milwaukee or something like that.
Pat McAfee was a little bit different. It sounds like there was something happening with the scouting combine where producers there weren't the nicest to Pat McAfee and his crew, and it seemed like there's been some tension between the league and Pat McAfee show this offseason for some reason. I'm not sure why, but like Kevin says here, a lot of history in Green Bay for football too. I think it's going to be on full display. I cannot wait to see how they set up Green Bay and Lambeau for the draft. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely incredible to be a part of, for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say, because obviously you'll be watching it on TV. I'll be right there. We'll have to get a number on how many times they show the Green Bay Football Hall of Fame.
Oh,
my bet is going to be over 15. They're going to be showing that every single time they can. It will be something that, especially like, obviously, like in my opinion, obviously going to Green Bay multiple times, the Hall of Fame there has gotten a little bit worse over the years. That's just my opinion, because they've sort of redone it year after year after year. But it's still an amazing opportunity to go see. And I'm glad I don't work up there, because I know it's going to be absolute mayhem for the for that basically that entire week, not just the 3 days. It's going to be mayhem.
Yeah, for sure. Kevin, going back to wide receivers in New England, says if it's Hunter, Diggs, then Pop Douglas, Booty, then guys like Polk and Baker, it's not terrible in the wide receiver room there. But again, it just depends on if Hunter's actually going to play wide receiver. We've had a discussion for the Titans too, that with them having the number 1 overall draft pick, potentially having the option to trade back if someone gives them an offer that they can't refuse, do you go after a guy like Travis Hunter? But at the same time, corner-wise, do you really need a corner in Tennessee? As of this point, with them getting rid of Cheeto Awuzie, potentially they do need a corner there. I know they're going to elevate Brownlee Jr. to a starting position, which he deserves it. He actually earned it last year. The rookie corner that was playing in place of Snead and also of Awuzie as well last year. Had some really good snaps, had some really poor snaps as well, but again, you can't really, for the most part, he had a very positive season being a rookie cornerback, trying to go out there and cover some of the best wide receivers out there in the league. But again, I still think Hunter's going to go DB first. I don't think he's going to be wide receiver. I think he's going to be DB first when he comes in, and then have some packages to come out there with the offense at times. And Kevin, in response to you being a correspondent for the draft, he said, yes, please. So we can figure that out down the line to get you on the show, because that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show tonight. We're also going to be talking about the Bengals, the new trio, not new trio, but the newly paid trio of Higgins, of Burrow, and also of Jamar Chase. They are getting a lot of money from the Bengals.
Yes.
A lot of money
that I will never see in my lifetime.
Yes, absolutely. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the biggest winners in free agency so far. We'll also be discussing the big names, remaining big names who are in free agency, where they might go. Quarterback. Season 2 is coming back for Netflix, and we will be discussing the focus of that season, the 3 quarterbacks they will be focusing on that season, and also some NFL rules. There's some new proposals out there for some rules, and we'll discuss those as well. So we have a jam-packed show tonight. I'm just glad Kevin's in the comments. If you're out there watching, hop in the comments as well with Kevin. We'd love to get you guys involved in the show too, and subscribe to our channel, JDF Sports on YouTube, and also all of the podcasting platforms for Out of Bounds. Dillon James, let's get into the show, the meat and potatoes here. Cincinnati have paid their trio. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins are now paid. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase sign very, very expensive contracts. 2 contracts, both 4-year extensions. For Jamar Chase, $161 million, and for T. Higgins, $115 million. To put this all in perspective, those 3 players are going to be paid $124 million. They're going to count $124 million against the Cincinnati cap heading into 2025. And of that cap, it's $279.2 million. That's the cap, the salary cap for all teams. They will count 44%. 44% of the cap there for the Bengals. What's your take on these contracts? And do you think that it was a smart move to sign both of them the way they did?
I mean, is it a smart move? Yes. I mean, you know what they're gonna do. Jamar Chase won Triple Crown again this year, did really good. T. Higgins still had a very productive season being wide receiver 2. Is it smart? No, God no. But hey, they want to have fun. They want to drop some bombs. They want to go probably less than 500 again. I do not think they will have enough to really sign a good defense. I know Trey Hendrickson is still wanting out of Cincinnati, which was the sack leader this past year. So I know he's looking to get out and get paid somewhere else. I mean, again, it's somebody compared this to just playing in the Big 12 where it's all offense, no defense. And that's exactly what we're going to see here. They're going to hopefully try to get a smidge of a run game. I think that's like their biggest bet right now is like try to get something of a run game going on where they can maybe window the clock down a little bit more than they did last season. But I mean, again, it's just going to be, you're paying 2 wide receivers and a quarterback. You know what you're going to get. You're hoping that Joe Burrow does not get injured again, which is something that he has gotten injured in the past. But if he's able to play a full, say 15 games, I think they could win. I think they could win up to 500% or like about that 9-win mark. I don't think they're going to win every single game because, again, they're in the AFC North. They're in a very tough division. And it's going to be one of those things where they're going to try to hit 50 points every single game, I feel like. And if they don't, then they're losing those games.
Yeah. Kevin's also saying he's playing GTA roleplay right now and has this show streaming in his car, driving around the city with his radio on blast. So appreciate that, Fitz. Appreciate the love there on GTA. Also, another thing too, talking about Travis Hunter, he said, I don't know how you take him at 4 if it's DB only. It's really one area we were solid with, which again, it's interesting to take a DB in the top 5 picks.
I think honestly, going back to this as well, I think it's just how the cookie falls. I think there's going to be 2 quarterbacks.
That's a new one. How the cookie falls.
How the cookie crumbles. That's how the cookie crumbles. That's what I was going for. But
Tyler trademark TM. How the cookie falls.
How the cookie falls.
Yeah.
But it's gonna. It's gonna be 2 quarterbacks at least, a defensive back and Travis Hunter. I think those are gonna be your top 4 no matter what. Now, what order they're gonna go, I have no idea. I think you guys could get Abdul Carter. You guys could get Cam Ward. You guys could even get Travis Hunter. I think Giants and Browns are going to get a quarterback or Abdul Hunter or Travis Hunter, and then whoever's at 4 or Patriots at 4 are going to get whichever one is the last one minus the quarterback. I think that's what it's going to fall to, and I think that's the way that you're looking at the first 4. But it's going to be very interesting to see how it all sort of falls into place.
Now going back to the Bengals, because we can talk more about the draft. We'll get closer to the draft. We'll talk more about the draft order there. Brian, welcome back. Always showing up, Brian. Thanks for tuning in on YouTube, actually. Brian's a longtime JDF Sports viewer on Twitch, but I'm glad you're over here on YouTube this time. Brian, would they still have enough to hold on to Richardson? I mean, at this point, Richardson wants to... I'm sorry, Hendrickson. Why did I say Richardson? Hendrickson. I'm thinking about the Colts for some reason. Don't ask me why. Hendrickson, he wants out. He sees the writing on the wall. I think he saw these contracts coming from a mile away, which I think everyone else did as well. He wants his bag, which I don't blame him. I mean, he was the heartbeat of that defense last year. He was the only guy producing on that defense last year. Maybe they can scrounge up some money next year. Maybe. It would have to be a hometown discount, first of all. for Cincinnati to actually give him a contract for him to accept. Secondly, does he really want to be there at this point? He sees the writing on the wall. He sees how the defense is going to be. I'll tell you this. I'm going to make a bold prediction. The Cincinnati Bengals next year will set 5 records within the top 10 most points scored in an NFL game next year. 5. 5 games next year they play will be in the top 10 of the most points scored in NFL games next year because of that defense. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And if it's not, it might not be bad. It might not be as bad this year with the defense. It was bad last year. Might not be as bad this year. But then next year, there are a lot of free agents on that team in 2026. A lot. Where are they going to get the money to pay them? If they do produce next year, how are they going to pay them? They won't be able to. Even though they're looking at, Albert Breer had a story on Monday Morning Quarterback on Sports Illustrated, talking about how, the cap this year got to about $280 million. Now it's going to be getting closer to $300 million for teams. So they're just looking at that number and expecting the cap hit to be not as bad when it gets to $300 million. Well, first of all, we got to get to $300 million. That's number one. I don't think we're going to see as big a jump in salary cap like we did this year, because I think this was one of the first years we've actually seen the salary cap go up since COVID. And it went up, I think it was $255 million, I think, last year. Or
yeah, I think this was
million?
Don't quote me on this, but I think this was like the biggest jump. I think it's been like going up a little bit, but I think this was the biggest jump.
And most teams, most teams were surprised that the salary cap went as high as it did this year anyway. I don't see that jump from $279.5 million, or $279.2 million to be exact, going all the way up to $300 million by 2026. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So you still are going to be up against the cap if you want to have a competitive team in the NFL, if you're the Bengals. You can put up points, sure. But if you look at the defense last year and how they performed, even though they got rid of their defensive coordinator, which I don't necessarily think it was his fault. It was the pieces he had to work with because of the money they were spending on offense, not really focusing on the defensive side of the ball. You're going to see Cincinnati fall off a cliff. It's not going to be, they're not going to be in the AFC conversation and AFC Championship, Super Bowl. They're not going to be in that conversation if they can't stop other teams from scoring. And their defense will not be able to stop teams from scoring. So you can put up as many points as you want, but I saw a graphic the other day. It was Joe Burrow walking off the field, sad, and it had the score bug underneath him. I forgot what team it was, but it said like Cincinnati Bengals 94 to this other team being 96 or whatever. Just like crazy numbers. It's funny, haha. But I mean, they're not gonna score 96 points or whatever. But still, it illustrates a point that they're going to be putting up points. However, the other teams are going to be putting up points as well. And it's very, very valid. Kevin said you can move money in the NFL around like crazy. Heard Hendrickson would sit if he didn't get a deal.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. It's like 2 hours ago, Bleacher Report just came out with an article said that he could sit out the entire 2025 season if he doesn't get a new deal. Because he's going to be playing off a 1 year... What was it? I just had it here. 1 year, $21 million contract. 1 year of $21 million extension. So that's what he will be playing under if he does decide to play this year in 2025. Which, I mean, if he goes, that defense is screwed. They have nobody. They literally have nobody.
No. William Keck is joining us tonight, saying that I'll say this in a span of 10 years, C's contracts. C's? I'm not sure the abbreviation there. Captains, C's, went from 6 million average to 12 million. With Amazon and other big marquee brands streaming football now, caps are going to go up significantly. If they were starting to stream football this year, I would get that. But I don't think there is a specific game being added coming up this next season. I haven't heard of one yet anyway. from besides the Black Friday game. The Paramount, I think, had a playoff game last year.
Peacock had a playoff game. Paramount
Peacock.
just
Peacock had a game
yeah.
last year
Yeah,
on
because Paramount
playoff
just
game.
has these CBS games. I mean, honestly, like again, I don't think it's going to go up that much. I think it could go up to the 280 mark, but you're talking about a $20 million jump.
Well, it's already
basically.
at. I mean,
It's
it's already
you said it
about
was at
279 It's 279.2, so it's already pretty much at 280. So
Yeah,
I mean,
so you're
I
talking-
could
well,
see
that's
it
still
going
a-
up to 287.
Yeah, at the highest, yeah, I could see it going up to like 287, but I don't think it's going to make that 20.
I don't think so.
$20
either.
million jump. I think that's going to be another maybe 3, 4, 5 years. I think we'll probably get that number in 2030, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen earlier, obviously, but it all depends on how much it does. But I mean, again, going back to this whole thing as well, you're having 3 players combined for 44% of your salary cap. With the way that Trey Hendrickson was looking to probably be paid, that's more than likely going to be about 50% of your salary cap. Put up in 4 players. 4.
That's not good roster management.
No,
That's
it's
not good
It's
roster
terrible.
management.
Like that can't be a roster. So I think they need to trade him. I honestly would not be surprised if next year the Cincinnati Bengals realize, oh crap, we messed up with the salary cap and trade T. Higgins.
And that's the thing too. I mean, looking at this and looking at past quarterbacks who have had success in the league, Tom Brady, the GOAT, arguably the GOAT. He never hit his ceiling when it came to how much money he could actually attain from the New England Patriots during their dynasty run. He was never, well, I know, Fitz said no argument. I know it's no argument. Tom Brady is the GOAT. However, could he potentially be caught up with Patrick Mahomes is making a case. I'm just saying I love Tom Brady. I don't think that he will ever be dethroned in the GOAT conversation. All I'm saying is he never was the highest paid guy on his team in New England. He knew that you had to spend money to make money, and make money by going to Super Bowls, make money by going to AFC Championship games, endorsements, things of that nature. There are other ways to make money, and some of these players don't feel that way. Some of these players feel as though they need to have these massive, lucrative contracts to have that security. But you go out there, you make the money that you should be making. You make money, but then also you produce. And when you produce on the field, you make money off the field. So I think there are other ways for you to build a team rather than spending 44% of your salary cap roughly on 3 players total on your team when you have to have a 53-man roster on Sundays. Will said they actually freed up $18 million of cap signing Higgins and Chase. Potentially so. But still, cap hit wise, you're still taking up 44% of the salary cap with 3 players. And you have to pay Hendrickson. And you have to pay these other free agents. Tyler, if you don't mind, look up on Spotrac and look up how many free agents will be from the Bengals in 2026. How many players are set to be free agents after next year or this year? I would love to see that number, because I was looking through Spotrac earlier today. I should have actually counted them myself, but I saw a lot of 2026 as the free agent date, a lot of them. So we can talk about that in just a minute. Kevin said Brady has never been paid top. Absolutely not. Fun fact: Kirk Cousins made more career-wise already than Brady ever did. You like that? You like that? Kirk Cousins does. Brian says Hendrickson is 30. Sitting out the year would not be a great decision. I mean, we saw, what was the guy's name I'm trying to think of his name. I'm drawing a blank. From Pittsburgh. I know he was an animal. Linebacker?
Defense, offense?
Defense. Linebacker.
Linebacker? Older, younger?
Older. He played until he was like 37, 38.
Oh, James Harrison?
James Harrison. There you go. Thank you. James Harrison, I mean, really, for a defensive end, yeah, thank you, Kevin as well. For a defensive end, 30's not that old, to be honest with you. You're in the prime
I
of
mean,
your career at that point. So even if he did sit out for a season, be 31 going into next year, that's not very old. You look at guys like Myles Garrett and James Harrison, guys like that. I mean, you have a lot of guys that thrive in their 30s as pass rushers. So I don't think it'd be a huge detriment to his career. I don't think it'd be a huge dip to his numbers. He could still stay fit. He's not injured or anything. But would he rather be out there playing? Probably. Yeah, I'm sure he would be. But if he's not getting paid, if he doesn't have the security, then why would he be out there getting hurt at this point? That's his mindset. I mean, I if I were a Bengals fan, I'd be saying, no, you got paid already. You should be out there playing for your team. That's who you should be playing for. But some people have other things in mind, and security is one of them. So unfortunately, he would probably want to sit out. Will said, as a Chiefs fan, Mahomes will never, ever come close to Brady. You know what? Again, I think that Tom Brady did a lot of things in his career, and he elevated the players around him. And Patrick Mahomes, like last year, I don't necessarily think it was Patrick Mahomes who led them to the Super Bowl. If you look at the totality of last year, it was not Patrick Mahomes who was leading them to the Super Bowl. He made some good plays, but he had probably one of his worst statistical years, or if the worst statistical year of his career last year with the Chiefs. So it was the defense.
Yep.
Kevin said it was the defense. It absolutely was. Brian, feels like every week it's a player. This player is now the highest paid player in said position. Yeah. I mean, it really is. Every single week, every single free agency period, you're always going to hear that number. Jamar Chase became that player. The highest paid non-quarterback is Jamar Chase now. So look at that. Will said, what's the difference? We've seen this before. Colts had Wayne, Harrison, Manning, and Ed James taking up a fourth of the contracts. Not like we haven't seen it.
That's a fourth compared to almost half.
Yeah, that's still, I mean, that's taking up quite a bit. And also, that's what, 4 players?
25%. That's 4 players taking up 25%.
Compared to 44.
I mean, I don't know.
It's still kind of crazy. We'll see how it works out for the Bengals, but I'm not too optimistic with what can happen, especially with the other teams out there paying guys the price they should be getting paid and building teams better.
Yeah, and I don't know how true this is, but it was the refs.
Mahomes destroyed my fantasy team. It was tragic, and said no fits. It was the refs who helped the Chiefs this year, which if you're Roger Goodell, that didn't happen. William, get out of here with that nonsense. The commissioner would like to have a word with you, William. Go back down to his basement with his his lounge area during the draft in 2020. Anyway,
so I did find the website, by the way.
Yeah.
So I don't know how updated this is, but apparently the Bengals only have 32 players on the roster. At least from like what Spot Trek is telling me. Again, I don't know when it was most recently updated.
Okay.
Over half their team is gone with this next year with free agents. I don't know how updated this is. They still say that they have Samaje Perine, which I know that he just re-signed there, so I think it is fairly recently updated.
Yep.
But I mean, like, it's going to be rough to see because I know they're obviously like free agency still happening, all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be interesting. Like,
and the thing is, like, with some of these guys, most of these guys that are getting paid, they're homegrown talents. The Bengals have done well drafting. I think they'll be able to keep doing that, but at a certain point, it can catch up to you.
Yeah.
It can.
And then also talking about the Trey Hendrickson thing being 30 years old. You want to know who else was 30 and who got into free agency and had the best later half of his career? Reggie White. When he went from the Eagles to the Packers, he was 30 years old, and he still went on to have one of the best sort of later half of his years. So I think it's fair to say you're 30, you're a defensive end, you're still going to be doing fairly good. You're not going to be falling off a cliff like a wide receiver or somebody who needs your legs to go. You just need strength.
Right. And you can be a situational passer. It's a pass rusher too. Later in your career, you might not be a 3-down guy. So you could become a situational pass rusher, and those players still make good money too.
Yeah.
Will said Bengals are going to sign ring chasers. Probably. You'll probably see contracts like DeAndre Hopkins, 1 year, $5 million, Um, Stephon Diggs, whatever he gets in Patriots with the Patriots potentially. If it's a long-term contract, maybe, but I would assume that he'd be wanting to just get a prove-it deal right now and then potentially get a bigger bag next year. Yeah, you'll see some ring chasers for sure.
Yeah.
I think you will, especially playing with Joe Burrow. Okay, let's get into free agency a little bit. A lot of this news we talked about last week on our live show, so we're just going to kind of talk about some of the biggest signings that we've seen so far individually, but then also we'll talk about the biggest winner overall, biggest team winner overall in free agency thus far. Some of the moves we've seen: Sam Darnold to the Seahawks, Justin Fields to the Jets, Daniel Jones to the Colts, which again, there is a new TikTok we're posting on JDF Sports, I believe today, with my rant about the Colts, which is usually pretty good.
Another Colts rant.
I know. I'm telling you, I rant about the Colts. It seems like every offseason. But it's good. It was a good one though. So check it out. And also share it with your friends. We love the contact and the engagement.
All the fun stuff.
Engagement.
Before we move on to the other teams, though,
yes.
Can I say something really fast about one of these quarterbacks?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. Justin Fields to the Jets. I love it. I genuinely love that move. I talked with my buddies. Do I think he's gonna be great with New York? Probably not. But I love this move. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I just feel like he obviously, like everybody said, like, oh, he's the most jetty Jet that's never been a Jet so far. At least that's what, like, I think it was PFT was saying that on or Big Cat was saying that. I genuinely really like this move. I think he's got great mobility. I think he's going to be a good team for them. I think they have again, their offensive line is pretty bad, but I mean, honestly, with a new head coach, I don't believe they still have Nathaniel Hackett being the OC. So I think a new OC, again, obviously new OC for him. Hopefully it's a good fit. They got Josh Myers, so they got that quarterback center connection again from Ohio State. I really like that. Josh Myers actually started to look like an offensive lineman last year. I genuinely really like the Jets this year. I think they're going to make much of a move or much like impact. No, but I could see them going from that 5-6 win to about maybe around 500 this year.
Yeah, I could see that.
Do I have anything? Yeah. Do I have anything backing it? No. Just pure pipe for that team. I'm genuinely excited to watch that team, though.
I mean, the defense should be better this year. Didn't they get a new defensive coordinator or no for the Jets?
Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn is going to be the defensive coordinator.
Aaron Glenn is head coach, but he'll be calling
I'm pretty sure
as well. I think.
Yeah. So
is he though?
I don't know if he is. I don't know.
He'll have a heavy hand in it though. As long as you have Aaron Glenn there, I think it'll be fine. Even if he's not calling plays, I think he's going to have a very heavy hand in the defensive side of the ball, which is a good thing. Yeah. I think that team can play really well, and Fields being there, play action is going to be huge. I think a lot of motion, a lot of play action. I think just setting him up into scenarios where he's been most successful will be something that Aaron Glenn's going to try to do. But I mean, who's their backup quarterback there with the Jets right now? Do they even have one?
I don't know.
I mean, like at this point, they probably would draft somebody potentially to have this a later round draft pick for a quarterback, just to see who they can get in there and just be, a developmental guy. But Justin Fields showed flashes last year with the Steelers. I mean, they almost kept him over Russell Wilson. People were begging the Steelers to keep Justin Fields on the field, besides Russell Wilson. Look how that went. But I don't know. That's wild.
Could be interesting. I mean, also with Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson still there, I think that could be Garrett Wilson is about to go off for like 1,000 yards. He's about to be the only person getting targets on that team.
William Keck in the chat. He does have an overall team biggest winner, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit, William. So just bear with me for a little bit. But he did say, I don't want to be contradictory. I don't. Rodgers has one of the quickest snap to release in the NFL in his career. Fields holds onto the ball the longest. That O-line couldn't help Rodgers upright. Keep Rodgers upright.
I mean, two things on that. Yes, I know. That's why I'm very excited for it. He's going to be running for his life. But also, too, Rodgers couldn't move at all this year after he tore his Achilles. He could not move to save his life. I mean, I think that's going to be his biggest upside is that Fields is actually able to scramble and move. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. I think play action's going to be bringing that team. Now, again, do I think they're going to be good? No, I think it's just going to be fun. It just feels like that, like a good fit. It doesn't feel like you're trying to put a square into a circle hole. It feels like just a fit that I think could be good. It obviously, again, is it going to be a great pickup? No, but I think it's going to be one of those things where it just feels right. It feels like a team. It feels like the way that it should be, and not like something completely different.
Yeah.
I think last year too, I was sort of hoping that he was going to go to the Jets, but I don't remember fully. But I think I was on that train last year too.
Looking at it now, it does look like they had some line help. They got
Josh Myers,
their
I know
biggest
that.
signing. I'm trying to see here. Why is it showing me? I'm trying to do it by team. I'm still trying to figure that Spotrack on.
Spotrack does not like me sometimes. So obviously they got Justin Fields, they got Jermaine Sherwood, linebacker, Tyler Johnson, former Rams, Chris Boyd, to another DB, Stone Smart, he was a backup last year, I believe. Brendan Cart, Jay Tuffy, a lot of defensive tackles. They really buffed up on the defense. They got Josh Myers again, which, again, being a former Packer, he finally looked like a competent center and not like a complete mess. This past year they got Chimeka Okafor from New England, the old tackle. So they got really good on defense. I think they're probably going to be targeting offense a lot in this draft. Their pick, I know they're super early on in the draft. They are, let's go to Tankathon. No, I don't want your draft history. They are pick 11. Or no, that's 2022. What the fuck? No, it is. Yeah, it's pick 11 from the Vikings this year.
Okay.
Wait. No, that's 20. What? Why are you telling me last year's?
William, you're bringing up good teams. Again, I'm not going to bring it up because one of those teams that you referred to is a team that Tyler's going to pick as his biggest winner in free agency, which we'll talk about in just a moment. William said Fields is about to die. So
yeah, I mean, here's the thing: they're pick 7. They could easily get Will Campbell from LSU. Stir up that offensive line. I think that's what they're going to be doing. Like, I think they could be that sneaky good wild card team. Like, again, with the wild card going down to 18 or 7 teams now, I think they could be that sneaky wild card team, like a 6-7 seed that just comes out of nowhere.
They could.
So,
I like Aaron Glenn a lot. I like all the
I do too.
I like all the coaches that were from the Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell tree. I think that Aaron Glenn's going to do some good things there in New York. If it's not this year, I think he's going to be a winner down the road as well. So, running back wise, there's been only one real notable running back that's been signed so far. Najee Harris going to the Chargers, which I like it. Because Jim Harbaugh gets a running back that
He tried to recruit to Michigan.
A power running back in Najee Harris. I think he'll actually be used the way he should be used in Los Angeles compared to what he was getting in Pittsburgh. It just seemed like they just didn't know what to do with him in Pittsburgh. But Jim Harbaugh loves his running backs. He loves his power backs. And Najee Harris will be that guy. I mean, he can have a renaissance similar to the renaissance we've seen from, or the upward trajectory we've seen from Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. I could see him having that kind of year next year for the Chargers, especially having the quarterback play of Justin Herbert. I think that team could be sneaky good next year, which they were good this year too, but I think they'll be even better having Najee Harris. Speaking of Los Angeles, former Rams wide receiver is going to the Seahawks. Cooper Kupp is going to be teaming up with Sam Darnold in Seattle. We'll see if he can stay healthy for 17 games. I mean, like, at this point, we're just hoping. The Seattle Seahawks are hoping that he'll stay healthy. He signed a 3-year, $45 million contract. So they have faith that he actually is going to be out there a good number of snaps next year and the next 3 years. So fingers crossed for Seattle that he stays healthy out there. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, especially with the wide receiver there. Williams said, I like Kupp, but you're definitely right. He can't stay healthy. Unfortunately not. He was a Triple Crown winner in 2022.
2021 when they won the Super Bowl, wasn't it?
21. I think it
Was it win the Super Bowl?
21 or 22. I think it was 21 though. Yeah, I mean he was Triple Crown winner just a few years ago. Just he can't stay on the field. The past 2 seasons, him and Puka Nacua keep going back and forth with who's injured this week. Like they can't be on the field together. It seems like there were a few games, but not enough to be dynamic enough to make it far in the playoffs like they were hoping they would. But I still think the Rams are going to be good. But Cooper Kupp going to the Seattle Seahawks, that's a big move. Devontae Adams going to the Rams. DeAndre Hopkins going to the Ravens. 1 year, $5 million contract for the Ravens. I know Fonz is really, really really loving that signing, having a guy in the 3rd spot, DeAndre Hopkins. So we'll see how that works. Yes,
it's that meme.
Puka Nacua is a stud. Very, very good wide receiver there. I think he's earned the stripes of wide receiver 1 there with the Rams, and getting rid of Cooper Kupp the way they did. I mean, they kind of pretty much said, "Hey, you're the guy." So let's go win some games. I think he will. He's a really good player. I really like Puka a lot. Tight end wise, Evan Ingram to the Broncos.
I like it.
I like it
Jack
too.
of all trade type.
I like it too. That's a really good safety blanket up there in Denver. So we'll see how that goes. I think that would be really, really good for them. Offensive line, tackle Dan Moore going to the Titans. Everybody excited? He's going to the left. J.C. Latham's going to the right.
Every single person I've heard talk about that move says that it's complete overpay.
I mean, yeah.
Terrible.
I don't think... The thing is, though, there is a lack of tackle talent in the league right now.
Yes.
And so at this point, if you can find one and you're comfortable enough to sign him to a contract, you're probably going to overpay for him. Yeah. Which at this point, if I'm the Titans, please, if you have a pulse, if you are better than the tackles we've seen the past few years, Dennis Daly, Nicholas Petit-Frere, like, get off of my TV screen and get off of my favorite football team, please. Please, God. Find somewhere else to go play. Do something different. I'm not going to get into it a lot. I'm not going to, talk about Titans and completely take over the show about Titans talk. But having Dan Moore coming in, it sounds like he's going to be a solid player, a solid tackle for the Titans coming underneath Bill Callahan. He has potential as well. He's a younger guy. I think he's like 25, 26 maybe. Younger tackle coming in. He was actually starting for the Steelers last year, but the rookie tackle they got in Pittsburgh last year is going to be taking over that spot. He actually beat out the rookie. I think there might have been an injury or something involved, but he beat out the rookie last year to play tackle for them. So coming in, he's actually going to put up some pretty good numbers compared to what we've seen tackle play-wise for the Tennessee Titans the past few years. And J.C. Latham will go back to his position that he played mostly in college, which is the right side of the line and right tackle. I think that would be really, really... Kevin Zeitler, too, from the Detroit Lions, coming in as right guard.
That's a good pickup.
I think it's a really good pickup. And having him and J.C. Latham on the right-hand side, we had... Titans fans kept talking about last year how the left side was very strong with J.C. Latham and Peter Skronsky. I think the right side now is stronger. I think at this point, you look at J.C. Latham on the right, and then at right guard, Kevin Zeitler, and then also you'll have Lloyd Cushenberry coming back from an Achilles injury, which hopefully he'll be okay heading into the season. But at center, that'll be rough. But we'll see if he'll be able to come back and play pretty well. William also said, I really love the Hopkins signing. He shows he still has solid hands and catches everything. He just doesn't have the speed he once had. It's crazy. He tore his ACL in Arizona and never had surgery on it. Yeah, I mean, he's a dog too. Like, I love DeAndre here in Tennessee. Last year was a shit show when he was here, and he wanted out. The Titans did a solid for him, sent him out to the Chiefs to try to get a ring. He almost got there, didn't get one, but going to the Baltimore Ravens, that's one of the second or third best places right now in the AFC to potentially go ring chasing. So, and also the prophecy of having Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and DeAndre Hopkins on one team has come to fruition. So, congratulations, Baltimore. You get to see it every Sunday in 2025-26, unless one of them get injured. So, good for
them. If only
them.
It was 2019.
If only. Defensive side, I mean, there was also guard Will Freeze, went to the Vikings, and Aaron
Will
Banks.
Freeze.
Will Freeze, Will Fries.
Will
Fries?
Fries. It's fries. And they had French. They had French fries.
Stop it.
You've never seen that? They did.
I think
they
I
had a
did. I think
guard.
I
His
did.
last
I
name
think
was
I do.
French,
I
and it
do
was
remember
French
that
fries.
now. I do remember that now. Aaron Banks going to the Packers. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's
Okay.
going to shore up. I think now it does throw into question why we drafted Jordan Morgan last year. But, I mean, again, tackle guy trying to get moved to guard. Didn't really do well. Played I was like 20% of snaps last year. Didn't really show much. Again, now that we're moving off from Josh Myers, moving Jenkins into center, moving Aaron Banks into right guard or left guard, I believe. Keeping our right guard right now, which I cannot remember his name to save my life. We have Rasheed Walker left side, Zach Tom right side. Very sure offensive line. Very excited for it. I know I was hearing from ESPN Milwaukee them talking about trying to maybe trade Rasheed Walker, and I'm like, no, please don't. He's actually a good tackle, and I get that we paid Zach Tom a lot of money, but let's keep both our good tackles because, like you said, there's a tackle drought. But I mean, if the right price comes to knocking and we get a first round pick, sure. But if not, let's keep everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, again, sure, offensive line. I'm excited for this year, obviously, with our running game looking as strong as it did last year. I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for Marshawn Lloyd to get back in the seat again, especially behind this sort of revamped offensive line. The only thing that worries me is Jenkins at center. He had 1 or 2 games at center and he did not look super comfortable there. He has played center in the past. So I think it was just, I know one of those games was that the torrential downpour game versus Detroit last year where it was like 30 degrees and raining the entire time. So I think it was just that. I think obviously getting a full year at center under his belt is going to be great. But I mean, again, I like it. It's shoring up the offensive line, making sure Jordan Love is healthy for this next season and just getting better with age.
Yeah, love that. Another move too, I didn't put it in here because it was a trade instead of it being free agent. Another signing that William liked was DK to the Steelers. Now we get to watch 2 Steelers wide receivers subject every DB to assault and battery. One thing, whenever that move did happen, there were murmurs that George Pickens would possibly be on the move. We have not seen any traction from that since that report came out after the DK signing. I wouldn't be surprised if he got moved before the season started, just because I think that, I don't know. George Pickens, especially depends on who they have at quarterback. If they have Russell Wilson at quarterback again, that connection just didn't seem like it ever got to a point to where it could be a viable option every Sunday for Russell to throw to with George Pickens. Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to happen.
Yeah, and also too, I believe this is the last year of Pickens's contract, his rookie deal. So he could be moved in midseason. Honestly, I was talking with my buddies about this. I'm like, I would love a George Pickens in Green Bay. Obviously, take all the character concerns out of there, but just having a true deep threat. Obviously, Christian Watson is our deep threat right now, but he just can't stay healthy to save his life, which sucks. Whereas George Pickens is able to be that good deep threat, just get somebody vertical. I think he could be a very good compliment for a lot of teams out there. But I mean, having him and DK on the same team, it's going to be. I don't want to say it's going to be dangerous because I don't know who's throwing it to them. But if they get an actual quarterback who can throw it vertical and just let them go get it, I think that could be a very good combination with these 2 guys.
Which we'll talk about that in just a little bit. It would be interesting if they were on the same team together, if they did play together. I still don't think if they do start the season together, I don't think they're going to end the season together. But it might be different with George Pickens not being like the guy or having to be the guy out there at wide receiver. DK can hold that mantle and George Pickens can just be the number 2. I think that having that off your shoulders a little bit might be beneficial for Pickens moving forward. But we'll just have to see how it plays out this offseason and potentially mid-season as well if they are on the same team to start the 2025 season. Other free agents out there, defensive side of the ball, just a few that really stuck out to me. Milton Williams, defensive tackle to the Patriots. Josh Sweat, defensive end to the Cardinals. Cameron Bynum to the Colts, which that's a pretty good signing for them, free safety. And defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw to the Commanders. They're still getting some pieces to build around their star rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, after his his great season he had last year. So we can see if they will continue doing that. But yeah, some good defensive moves. It was a lot of offensive heavy. Obviously, with free agency, it typically seems like there's a lot more moves on the offensive side of the ball that are more flashy. Defensive side of the ball, you still have some good deals corner wise and free safety wise, things like that. But so some of those are the big ones that really stuck out to me. Did anything else stick out to you, Tyler?
Honestly, I was sort of I don't remember what podcast I was listening to this on, but this draft, I think it was the Ringer's fantasy football NFL show. They're talking about how this year was very in the trenches heavy with offensive line and defensive line. I think that's really the case because they saw what the Eagles did. Obviously, I'm going to talk about the Packers a little bit as well, but obviously they also signed God, what's his face? The dude from the Raiders, Chris Brooks. No, I'm sorry, I'm trying to search this up right now. Nate Hobbs from Raiders. I think it's a great pick for him. I think another good signing / trade was Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders, starting up that offensive line. I think they are trying to get that sort of the RG3-ness out of it and trying to make sure that he has an offensive line for Jaden Daniels. I think they are going to be very good. I think honestly overall, again, like you mentioned, sort of just a somewhat interesting free agency, even with the lack of flashy names on the chopping block, really.
Yeah, and a lot of the moves too, especially with the tampering period, which we discussed last week on the JF Sports Live show, is that a lot of those names and stuff we heard about on Monday. So all the deals that we would expect to happen on Wednesday, and it really wasn't that much of a surprise by the time Wednesday came around when all these signings occurred. So, but definitely, again, there was a flurry of moves for free agency. I'm sure we'll see some more depth moves happening over the next few weeks, and also some other big names out there that are still available, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Williams said, "Now my biggest disappointment in free agency was the Packers so far this early." All their wide receivers, I thought, were on the move. They wanted to address wide receiver, and so far, all you've done is get Mecole Hardman.
This is my thing. I don't think it's going to sound bad because we sort of started about this show with this as well. Packer fans are greedy. They are very greedy, and I'm glad that I'm not one of them. I don't think we needed it. At least in my opinion, I don't think I'm one of them. I truthfully don't think we needed another wide receiver from this free agency class. Because you look at the best one, it was Chris Godwin. Okay, cool, slot guy. We have that already in Jaden Reed.
He wasn't going to leave the Bucks anyway.
He wasn't going to leave the Bucks anyways. Okay, DK Metcalf. We're not going to trade for him. We don't do trades. We never like trading people. Okay, well, what about Stephon Diggs? He's a bit older. We don't like signing players over 30. There is no true wide receivers in this class that we would have picked up. So I think, obviously, getting Hardman, I think it's going to be a good return specialist, and it's going to be annoying because now we're going to have him and Nixon back there. But, I mean, again, there wasn't really a true wide receiver there that was a free agent that was really in our wheelhouse. Like, would I have loved to see Devontae Adams come back? Yes, but what we need is a true deep threat, number one, sort of go out there and get that sort of thing. I saw it every single time last year. As soon as Christian Watson was on the field and healthy and able to take those deep shots, our offense clicked completely different. As soon as he got hurt, that's when everything crumbled. So I think that is just one of the things where it's, yes, do we want to focus on the wide receiver? Yes, but you can't sign like a Cooper Kupp. He's not going to help you. He's not going to be that deep threat. We need that deep threat vertical guy that's just running go routes every single time. And I think that's exactly what we're looking for. I think we could see it in the draft this year. I think we could see that a little bit more. But there was really no wide receivers in this free agency pool that was going to help that. There's a lot of wide receivers that are slot based, 2-3 guys that we already have. We have that Jaden Reed. We have the Romeo Doubs. We have the Devontae Wicks. That we just needed a true deep threat, go vertical, find the ball, capture, get the ball. There we go. Which is Christian Watson, which hopefully he's healthy. But again, you want to address wide receiver. Who do you want to get? DK Metcalf? Well, you had to trade for him. And then you had to spend $150 million to get him. Like, I would love Jordan Pickens. Do I think we're going to trade for him? No. But it's one of those things where there wasn't a wide receiver in this draft class, in this free agency class, that looked like it would move the needle one way or another.
Yeah. I love all the comments in the chat. Keep them coming. We're going to be popping up a lot of them here. We're going to catch up real fast. William said they have too many Robins at wide receiver. I love Dobbs. I love Watson, but they don't want to step up. Do you think any of those
No.
players can step up to be wide receiver one?
Oh, yes. Oh, 100%. I think Watson can be a true wide receiver one. I think obviously he's very good with the
He had an injury
vertical
issue last year,
He,
too.
but he
That's the
does
main-
it. Yes, he has those injury issues. Rob Dobbs again had that concussion, that really bad concussion, which I hope he's doing better on. And he also had that mental break a little bit in the season. One wide receiver, I hope he steps up this year, because I think if this guy does step up, I think it could be a massive turning point. Is Wicks. We get Wicks to step up. I think that he could be our true wide receiver one. He's got that the Devontae Adams size. He's like 6'2", 230 built. Just needs to catch the ball.
Yep.
That's his biggest issue right now, is he needs to catch the ball. And I think we need to get him on the jugs machine, just get him the balls every single day. And I think that could be great. I think if he steps up, he can be our true wide receiver one, sort of take over everybody. I love Watson. I love Dobbs. I love this wide receiver group, because we finally have 2s and 3s instead of 4s and 5s. But we just need one of those guys to step up. And I think we genuinely have a really good team where if Wick steps up or Watson steps up and doesn't get injured, I think that could be the great turning point. I think they are looking for that this year. And if this doesn't happen this year, then we see some stuff next year with trades or signings to be like, hey, we got to step up that. But it's the Packers. We're never going to draft a wide receiver in the first round. We're going to go defense or offensive line.
Yeah. Cage My IQ is in the chat saying that Ojulari at a 1-year, $4 million deal is a solid deal for Philly. I absolutely agree. And also having a team that just went to the Super Bowl, they can get players on those kind of contracts to help their team keep succeeding, which is a good thing. Also, we have Cage also saying, you guys see Tomlin has been doing a lot of scouting on Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is potential like day 2 pick, it sounds like, so far. But the only bad thing is I think that the Steelers are like pick 86, I think, is like their next pick after the first round. So that might be a little too late to get a guy like Jalen Milroe. So I might have to trade up for him if they want to get Jalen. But Jalen will be an interesting prospect. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be an interesting player to come into the league. See if he can have the same success like other Alabama quarterbacks, recent Alabama quarterbacks coming into the league, Tua and guys like that. So that'll be interesting to see. William says, I was happy the Chiefs retained Bolton. I really like him being a homegrown guy. And again, the good teams always retain their homegrown guys. And that's something that teams like the Titans are hoping to build upon, especially with having Borgonzi in the front office now. Thank you for that, William Keck, for giving us Mike Borgonzi this offseason. Also, we have Gabe. Gabe Alari is in the chat. Gabe said Stephon Diggs visit with the Pats. Do you think he'd be too much of a headache or a good vet for Drake May? I think he'd be a good vet for Drake May. He was good last year down there in Houston for C.J. Stroud in his second year for the games he played. Then he got that ACL injury, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out the rest of the season. He missed the rest of the year. But I think Stephon Diggs can still be productive. And is he going to be the Stephon Diggs of 2 or 3 seasons ago? No, not the Buffalo Bills Stephon Diggs that we know of. But, I mean, I think he can still be productive there in New England, but it just depends on how quickly he can recover from the ACL injury. That's going to be something that we'll keep an eye on. William Keck says if Drake doesn't target Diggs 20 times a game, Diggs will quit on the team or sleep with some teammate's wife. True. You're not wrong.
I mean,
you're not wrong.
Also, too, who else is he going to throw to? So he's going to probably target Diggs 20 times a game.
I mean, you got Booty. You got some other guys there. Fonz, late to the party, apologize, doing a fantasy baseball draft. Get me out of here. But football is king. Protect the flock. Also, you should be worried about your March Madness bracket, Fonz, not your fantasy baseball draft. Even though baseball is just around the corner. I mean, when's opening day? I'm not even a huge baseball fan. It already oh, that's right. It already happened in Japan
playing in Tokyo
yesterday, right? Yeah. With the Dodgers. Dodgers won at like 3 a.m. in the morning.
Dodgers won.
That's a great way.
The Cubs are 0-2 to start off the season.
Great way to start off the season for the MLB to focus on the Japan market instead of the American market. Awesome. Great. 3 a.m. Yeah. Dodgers fans.
I mean, honestly, it was really fun though too, because you look at both the Cubs and the Dodgers. Look at the amount of Japanese players on those teams. Like you got Seiya, you got Yoshi, you got
For sure, for sure.
Everybody.
And a lot of there are a lot of Japanese players who are in Japan right now, currently playing, that are potential prospects for the MLB in the next few years. They have a huge pipeline right now, which is great.
Oh yeah.
But again, it kind of sucks that American fans, the Dodger fans out there, were they had their alarm clocks on to watch the game yesterday. William said, off subject, thank you guys for doing this. I genuinely love when you guys are on doing this weekly. Wish it was daily, but I'll take the weekly. I appreciate you, William Keck. Thanks for tuning in once again. And also, thanks for switching over to YouTube. I know Facebook to YouTube switch. Some people don't want that, but I'm glad you were able to, so we appreciate that. Fawn said it happened in Japan, but March 27th is when the Mets World Series run starts. I gave up on brackets with March Sadness. You can actually do like an AI version of March Madness now. You like go in their bracket. I think on CBS you do it. And it's just like fill it out on your own, and it just kind of randomly generates it for you.
I feel like that just gets rid of the fun of doing a bracket.
It really does.
Like, why am I having AI do it? Like, no. Like, let me fill it out. I filled out mine the other day. I have my brackets. I have not watched college basketball at all. I saw that a team beats up a trash can. They are winning a game. I don't care. I want them to win a game.
Yep.
I saw the dude shoots granny style. They are winning a game. I don't care.
I do love the fact Fonz brought this up. I don't know if it was during our live stream or if it was during our meeting we had yesterday, talking about doing a March Madness bracket just strictly on uniforms alone. I think Fonz, if you did that, I would be very, very intrigued to see what the winning percentage would be for that bracket if you did it just based on a uniform. So if you have time to do that, you should do that before. I think it's 9:15 Pacific tomorrow morning is when like the game starts. So you have some time to do that bracket if you want to, Fonz. Kern said flock down to Ravens. Unfortunate for Fonz. William says that F the Dodgers. I hate them. They're the new generation Yankees. Absolutely. And that's why I loved when the Braves would beat the Dodgers a few years ago when they went to the World Series. And it's funny when the Dodgers lose just because they're one of the highest, what's it called? They don't have a salary cap. Payroll. It's like the payroll. There you go. The highest payroll in the MLB. They have to pay what's the tax they have to pay? The luxury tax if they spend too much money or something like that. They have a luxury tax on those contracts. It's just funny to see Dodgers having one of the highest payrolls in the MLB, but then losing before they get to the World Series. I think it's great. Kevin says, go Vols, GBO, baby, all the way to the top. In both the brackets I filled out so far, I have Tennessee going all the way to the finals.
I think I have Tennessee knocking out in the first round.
In the first, get out of here. Justin Kearns, VCU and Liberty, my sleepers in my bracket. VCU is definitely one of my sleepers as well. Liberty,
I think I had VCU winning one game because I know I called one of their games versus Loyola Chicago last year for their women's team, so it was fun.
That's right.
So I was like, you know what? I see VCU on the tournament.
That was just a subtle brag right there.
Subtle brag, a little subtle brag right there.
Just calling their game on ESPN. That's fine. William says, go Tar Heels for the North Carolina Tar Heels. A lot of controversy in college basketball about NC getting in there to the bracket. Yeah, we'll see if they're able to do something in the first round. I know they won their play-in game.
They won their play-in game. Now they're facing. God, who are they? I don't even know who they're facing. All I know is that I have the very basic Michigan State versus Duke in the winners in the national championship game because that's going to be the two teams. And I have Michigan State winning because F Duke.
Yeah, F Duke. Fawn says the Bonnies got smacked in the NIT to Kent State. That's all I cared about. Go Bonnies. Well, sorry to hear that. William says Oregon Ducks for the win this year.
This is gonna sound weird, but I'm a Ducks hater now.
Why?
I hate the Ducks because I have Boise State and the Lake Eric blunt punch, and whenever we face them, we get steamrolled by them and all the fun stuff. So
understandable. Jessica Kearns wouldn't hate digs to the Pats. Really starting to feel like Travis will be our guy at 4. Travis Hunter. Wouldn't be a bad pick.
No.
But he's gonna be
we'll have to do a draft show. We'll have to do a draft show before the draft happens, so we can go through our mock draft and all the fun stuff.
I like that. We will definitely do a draft show. We'll talk more about schedules and such like that as well. We'll be announcing when we're doing shows this off season, even though, we are going to be doing shows sporadically, not necessarily weekly during the off season. But we will definitely do shows when there's huge news. We will do a show that week. Just keep that in mind. Let's go to just some of these quick things here. Biggest winners in free agency so far. The first one, William Keck brought in here was not that one. The Broncos. Broncos are definitely the winner of free agency, but to be honest, any team that has a decent quarterback on a rookie deal, they're all up there in free agency. Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, again, going back to the Evan Ingram pick, just a jack of all trades. Going to be that, I'm guessing, I heard this as well, going to be that Jimmy Graham type for Sean Payton. Really reliable. Going to be good. Look very good the past few years with Jags. Sneaky good.
Yeah.
They just need that running back, which I think a lot of people are going to be going through the draft for, because this draft class is loaded with running backs. So it's going to be very fun. And I know I saw a sneak peek of the other message that you pulled up, so I know I'm going to be crashing out about that very shortly.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Who is your biggest winner in free agency so far for the NFL?
Chicago. I mean, before you even look at it, obviously before the free agency period even started, trading for Jonah Jackson, trading for Joe Thuney from Kansas City and LA respectively, shoring up that interior offensive line. We talked about it before the show started. If you go back in our messages from the start of last year, I said the Bears needed to address their interior offensive line. That's exactly what they did, getting those two, and then also signing Drew Dahlman, center from Atlanta last year. Very good center, very good in wide zone. I think Ben Johnson is going to be running that. Keep it going back to that, the sort of wing T-ish offense, a lot of play action, a lot of wide zone stuff. I think they're going to be really good for them. And also signing Grady Jarrett too, sort of an underrated signing, another player from Atlanta, defensive lineman, going to be a very game wrecker sort of style. Try to do that. They also signed Josh Blackwell to a 2-year deal, going to be doing very good. I got rid of Gerald Everett, which okay, decent tight end. Now they don't have 17 tight ends on their team, but I think it's honestly overall really good team. High speed center. I would not be surprised. Dude is really good. Dude is honestly very good. I think the Chicago Bears are going to be a tough team to play this next year. It all depends on what Caleb Williams is able to do. I heard somebody say they're worried about Caleb Williams becoming a draft bust. That's why they're drafting all this offensive line help. No, did you watch them last year? They did not have an offensive line.
No.
They had one good player who at right tackle. I think the only thing they do worry about is left tackle, which they still are okay at. But that interior offensive line is still really good. I think they're going to be drafting a certain running back out of Boise State that I'm going to be very, very annoyed with if they do, because I said there's only 2 jerseys I will not buy if he goes to teams, and it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. And I have a very strong feeling he's going to go to the Chicago Bears at number 10. And that number 10 is going to be Ashton Genty. And if he does go there, you're going to see me on TV crying into my Chiefs head wearing a Boise State Ashton Genty jersey and all that fun stuff.
I'm sure we will have that when that pick occurs, depending on who it is, and if it is Ashton Genty, we'll put you on that show that night and get your instant reaction there in the crowd talking about Ashton Genty to the Chicago Bears, which I'm sure Bears fans would love that. But
I'm talking with one of my buddies. He says he will love that pick, and I know it's going to be such a good pick for them too. But I just don't want him going to Chicago because I know what he can do. And he will ruin it. I was on the Boise State train before the season started this last year, talking about Ashton Genty. Dude is good. Dude is very good. And I think whoever gets him is going to get that I don't want to say once in a lifetime, because he's like a sort of tier below that, but definitely a running back that's going to be good for 10 years. That's going to be very good.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good too. My winner as of right now, and also William Keck saying the obvious, Genty was robbed of the Heisman. So
yes, he was.
My winner was the Patriots. And talking to Kevin, talking on the show last week, hearing all the moves the Patriots are making, and knowing Mike Vrabel and knowing how well he can put together a defense, the pieces he's getting are really good. I think he's got some really good pieces. He is kind of trying to make the 2023 Titans team a little bit. He's getting some pieces from there. Harold Landry, Dr. Gibby, Jack Gibbons just got signed there today. So that's another Titan, former Titan. Also, Josh Dobbs. Rocket Man himself will be going in there and being the backup quarterback. It looks like potentially. So that Joe Milton's his time with the Patriots is up in the air at this point. So I'm not really sure how that's going to play out with the Patriots. I'm not sure if there's going to be a camp battle between Dobbs and Milton, two former Tennessee quarterbacks going at it in training camp, which would be interesting. But yeah, some really good moves. Morgan Moses, Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis. I think they're making some good moves. Cleveon Chaseon too. I didn't know if you heard about that move. 1 year, $5 million deal, a prove it deal. He came in the league with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Him and Harold Landry rushing the quarterback. I think that's actually a pretty good duo. I think that's a really good duo. So I'll be excited to see what they can do there in New England. I think they can do some good things, especially like I said, Mike Vrabel being there, being that culture guy, setting that culture in the locker room. I know Fonz loves talking about culture, thinks that it's overhyped at times, but I think Mike Vrabel can do some good things with that. Make them a bit more hard nosed than they were previously, and that defense is going to be solid, I think, this year. So. We'll see how that goes. And Alex Hanley, sorry, boys. Hate to not be with y'all. No problem at all, Alex. I know you're busy with school. Alex will join us on our next show when we have our next show. We will keep you all posted on JDF Sports, on our social media page, Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram. We'll be posting more about the show and when we will have our next show. So keep an eye on that. And also Out of Bounds, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch. Not Twitch, Twitter, X, as the kids are calling it these days. Follow us on all those platforms. But yeah, I think the Patriots had a pretty good offseason so far. So we'll see how it goes with all their moves they make in the draft. But I think they can address some holes. And having Drake May, having a quarterback like that, kind of like what William Keck was saying, having a rookie deal for a quarterback gives you flexibility to where you can make some other moves out there. And I think the Patriots can do that, especially having the number four draft pick. I think they can make some pretty good moves in the draft too.
Yeah, and also too, I don't know if you mentioned it, but Milton Williams, we talked about him a little bit beforehand. I think that's going to be a good pickup. Obviously, he showed what he can do in the Super Bowl. But I mean, again, also with that Patriots team, I think that the AFC East is going to be that battle for that number 2 seed. Obviously, Buffalo is going to get that number 1 seed in the AFC East, but I think that number 2 seed is got a real good chance to go to either the Patriots, the Jets, or the Dolphins. I think obviously Miami is a very hit or miss team right now. I know they have been having some struggles, but I think they still have a good chance to being that 2 seed. All depends on what people's health is, but I think that honestly the AFC East is going to be a division that's going to shock a lot of people. I feel like
I can see that for sure. Let's look at the big names that are still available out there. There's a few big names that we'll just quickly hit on. We don't have to discuss long because we are running a little long tonight, but I've enjoyed all the comments out there. If you have more comments, feel free to keep them coming. William just wanted to have a clarification here about the jersey bracket when I was talking to Fonz. Oregon Ducks for the jersey bracket, he meant, and UNC is only in because they're busting brackets. They have no reason being in. So go out there and, F it, as he says here in the comment. Big names, quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. Those are the two guys that everyone's focusing on right now. A few teams out there looking at their services. Russell Wilson, kind of on the Steelers train, it looks like, potentially having a return there in Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers, kind of up in the air. He was thinking about the Vikings. Vikings have come out. There's a report saying that today, actually, that J.J. McCarthy's going to be QB1 heading into the season. So that kind of eliminates Aaron Rodgers from the conversation there in Minnesota. So where does Aaron Rodgers go? Does he go to the Giants? Does he go to the Steelers? I guess the Steelers are kind of waiting on what Aaron Rodgers does too at this point.
Yeah.
Because if he moves to the Giants and the Steelers come in and get Russell Wilson again for another year, because there's not very many quarterbacks out there that are out there available. Jameis Winston. Anybody want starting Jameis Winston? Anybody?
Giants.
I mean, I don't know.
Hey, you want to have some fun?
At that point, if Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson decide to not go to the Giants, neither of them go to the Giants at this point. Giants are trading up.
Oh yeah.
In my mind.
Oh.
They're trading up to the number 1 draft spot. Or number 2.
Yeah.
But they're going to get out of the Shador or Cam at that point.
Yeah, they're going to get 1 or 2. I think Sorry, I cut you off a
No,
little
you're
bit
fine.
there, but I think honestly, I would much rather want Rodgers to go to the Steelers than anything else. I think that makes the most fit for him. I think obviously Tomlin's going to be juggling so many different personalities, but I think the fit wise, I think that makes sense to go to the Steelers than anything else. I think Russell Wilson's to the Giants could be a very good pickup. Just 1 year deal, like sort of another, not I want to say another prove it deal, but like 1 2 year deal.
And they could
I
still
think,
draft a quarterback at that point too if they decide to go
yeah,
Russell Wilson.
yeah, and I think they will. I think they're going to get Jackson Dart in the second round. I think that's going to be a good fit for them. But I think just getting a guy to learn before him, I think Russell Wilson to the Giants could be a great pickup. And I think honestly, it's these two quarterbacks that are sort of holding up the quarterback market. I feel like with Jameis Winston and all those guys, sort of mid tier guys that are still waiting to get signed.
Yeah. William actually brings up a little tidbit here. Steelers defensive tackle Cam Hayward came out yesterday and pretty much called out Rodgers, either join us or don't. We aren't a glam franchise. We are warriors. Commit or don't.
It's Rodgers. He'll do whatever the hell he wants.
At this point, yeah. I mean, I think he will. Again, all these teams are out there waiting just to see what will happen with Aaron Rodgers, and then that's when all the dominoes will fall at that point. But another comment here, Alex saying, I am having to come to terms with Cam Ward to the Titans, but damn, I do not love it. There was someone out there, actually, Paul Kaharski came out with a tweet today. Let me see if I can find the tweet so I can show the graph here. Came out with a tweet today showing the, one second, showing the graph of performance of quarterback, like the it's like the little chart, like the spider web looking chart, where it talks about like EPA per play, sacks, like all sorts of things they're evaluating, and showed a comparison between Cam Ward and another former draftee or another former prospect out there before he got drafted in the league. You could probably guess who it is just because of the positive connotation to this. But in this graph, it was almost identical with this player. I'm still trying to pull it up here. Paul Kaharski, NFL on Twitter is the handle. And this was, where can I find it? Where are you, Mr. Graph? He had it. Okay, here it is.
I was going to say, watch, he deleted it.
Oh my gosh. Where is this freaking tweet? I'm going to find it.
We'll find it and then we'll post it on socials or something like that. Just
here it is. Here it is. Okay.
Draft.
So this was the spider graph for Cam Ward. Okay. Let me bring this down real quick. I know. It was a Mahomes comparison. The graph looked almost identical to this one. Patrick Mahomes did, coming out of Texas Tech. Everyone's been sharing this on social media today, saying that Cam Ward can have the same traits as Patrick Mahomes. William coming out saying lazy journalism, tweeting it and making that comparison is awful. I get it. I think they're just saying that there is the potential of a star quarterback there with Cam Ward. So I think this is something they're trying to use to bring people into the fold. To say Cam Ward is the guy. Cam Ward should be the quarterback moving forward for the Titans. I'm still not sold. Josina Anderson came out today talking about Will Levis being on the trade block potentially, or being in trade discussions with other teams. The Titans are about Will Levis. I still think there's something there for Will Levis. I still do. Give him a second year in Brian Callahan's offense with him calling the plays and just see what happens. If it doesn't work out, guess what? We move on next year. If we trade down from the number 1 overall draft pick, look, you might have a second first-round draft pick for next year. If the Giants or the Browns are that desperate for a quarterback at number 1, let them take it. Let them get it. At this point, let them get it. Give us an extra first-round draft pick for next year. And depending on what the quarterback class looks like next year, get a quarterback next year. You have other pieces. Mike Borgonzi came out during his press conference and said They want to increase the number of top 100 picks they have over the next 3 years. And I believe they said something like 12 picks in the next 3 years in the top 100. They're not near that number right now. As of right now, if they sit at number 1 overall, they are not near that number. They do not have a third-round draft pick this year in the 2025 draft. So how do you supplement that? How do you fix that issue? You trade out of the first overall draft pick and get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. You do not get Cam Ward at this point. In my opinion, it just feels as though this year, with us having a very limited number of quarterbacks that are available, they're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. They're trying to say, well, it's a quarterback. We need a quarterback for this team. We have the number 1 overall draft pick. Let's just get Cam Ward. He's the best of the quarterbacks in this draft, which is not saying much. Not saying much at all. The spider graph for Will Levis didn't look very good coming out of Kentucky his last year either. However, that was the last year he was injured. He also had all of his players he played with the year prior. They all got drafted to go to the NFL. So obviously his spider graph was a little bit off. But again, I think you trade back, trade the number 1 overall draft pick, fill other holes. There are other holes in this team. Do you want to see an Anthony Richardson type scenario happen in Tennessee? What's more likely in Tennessee? If the Titans decide to draft Cam Ward, what's more likely? A Jaden Daniels situation or an Anthony Richardson situation? Why do you think Jaden Daniels' rookie season was so lauded? Why do you think it was so impressive to media types out there? Do you think it's something that happens every single year? That you have a rookie quarterback who sets rookie records for completion percentage and leads their team to the NFC Championship game his first year in the league? Doesn't happen every year. Patrick Mahomes sat behind somebody for a year before he actually came into the league, into the Chiefs organization as a starting quarterback. Alex Smith was there, and that was a very good situation that he got put into. So at this point, I'm leaning more towards Cam Ward coming to Tennessee being more closer to an Anthony Richardson situation than it would be a Jane Daniels situation because of the pieces around him. You know how you fix that? You go forward with the quarterbacks you have currently, Will Levis. You go forward with Brandon Allen from San Francisco, the backup quarterback you signed from San Francisco. Go forward with those guys. Next year, fill some more holes. You need some edge rushers. You need 2 edge rushers. You got rid of Harold Landry in the offseason. You need an edge rusher. You need some cornerback depth now because we got rid of Cheeto. You need some cornerback depth. You need some linebacker help as of right now. Cody Barton is one of your main guys back there who just replaced Kenneth Murray. Do you feel comfortable having just Cody Barton back there at linebacker? Who's okay in coverage? I don't. So you probably need a linebacker. You have other holes to fill in this team. Wide receiver. You have Calvin Ridley as your wide receiver 1. Do you feel comfortable having just Calvin Ridley as your wide receiver 1? And your third best wide receiver on this team is Treylon Burks? No. Fill holes. Trade down and let the Giants ruin Cam Ward. Let the Browns ruin Cam Ward. Or maybe he's successful. At this point, Cam Ward's one of those guys. They talked about it before getting closer to the draft. Before the season ended and things of that nature. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, they were talking about, you know what, those are guys that you bring into an organization. Let them sit for a year. Let them develop first. And they could potentially be franchise quarterbacks for your team. Any team they're picking, any team that's picking them in the top 3, they're not going to let them sit for a year. And that's troubling. So therefore, the Titans should not draft Cam Ward at number 1. That's just me. There are more holes than just quarterback on the Titans. You need to fix some holes, get some top 100 draft picks for the next 3 seasons, and you could do that by trading down. Sorry for getting on my soapbox, but Jesus. I mean, like, I seriously, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills in here in Nashville. Everyone is saying Cam Ward's the guy. Cam Ward's the guy. Cam Ward's the one. Cam Ward's the one. I have whiplash from hearing everybody talk about Cam Ward this offseason. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it right now. Alex Hanley agrees, saying same. He also says 2 more years of building a good team and get Arch Manning. 2 years might be too much. Might be too long of a timeline. But I get where you're going, depending on who the quarterbacks are coming out in the draft next year. William Keck says, Will Levis is awful too. I know you're a Titans fan, and I apologize for that. If Will Levis had a solid offense, everyone grew frustrated on that team with Levis, but I agree with you. Trade that pick. He had an okay... he had some pieces at wide receiver last year, yes. We've talked about this. William Keck. We used to go back into our archive of episodes from last season talking about Will Levis. The offensive line really hurt him last year. The play calling really hurt him last year. That was the 4th year in a row where he had a new offensive coordinator. I mean, no consistency whatsoever. That's the reason why he didn't look the same that he did in his rookie season. Alex Hanley, Will Levis apologist number 1, hosting the show. Absolutely. And I still have his jersey. William Keck. If they suck, then be like the Bears and have 2 firsts in the next draft, then address quarterback and another game changer. Thank you, William Keck. That's what you do. That's what you do.
Well, that wasn't the Bears' first pick, though. It was Carolina's, technically.
It was, yeah, technically, yes.
But also, so before we move on, I know we should move on because we're going super long. But to play devil's advocate, Will Levis isn't Bill Callahan's draft pick. I could see that being the reasoning why. That's just me playing devil's Brian Callahan. I don't know why. What did I say? Bill Callahan?
He said Bill. Yeah.
Oh, Brian Callahan. That's not his draft pick, so I could see that being the number 1 reason why. But also, too, obviously, Giants and Cleveland will be the 2 that you're hoping to trade up for. How far down do you go to trade? Because the next team I could see being a quarterback away or trying to get a quarterback in the first round would be New Orleans at 9.
The Raiders potentially are an option as well, because the Raiders could potentially, potentially having a guy behind Geno Smith. He's getting up there. Geno Smith's probably mid-30s.
Geno Smith's 34.
Yeah,
34. But again, as we were talking about before the show, I don't think Pete Carroll's looking to rebuild.
And not necessarily that. I mean, they have Geno Smith now. Absolutely,
yeah.
They have Geno Smith now. But having a guy in the wings, it's not a bad thing. Potentially do that. But potentially, I think the biggest thing, if they are trading down, I'm of the mindset trade down if you get a good enough package. And you only do that if you have a team who is desperate for quarterback play, like the Browns or like the Giants. So if one of those teams is desperate enough to trade up to number 1, which really I think it's all focused on the Giants at this point.
Yeah,
if the Giants don't get Aaron Rodgers, even if they get Aaron Rodgers or get Russell Wilson, I could see them still wanting to get getting a quarterback high, just so you have somebody in the wings. I could still see it happening. But I would say that the Giants, if they are desperate enough, if they don't get one of those 2 guys, I think they could have the best package for trading up to number 1 overall if they feel so inclined. And if they give us a good enough draft package, compensation package for that, sure, be my guest. I would love to have that compensation. However, if they don't get a good enough package, I'm okay with sticking at 1. If it's Cam Ward, it's Cam Ward. And guess what? If it's the wrong pick, Brian Callahan's out of here next year. We're getting a new head coach. It's going to be a cycle.
It's going to be the Chicago Bears cycle.
It was John Robinson. They got fired, GM. The next year, Mike Vrabel, head coach. The next year, Rand Carthon, GM. The next year, Brian Callahan, head coach. Just going to be a cycle for the Titans for a little while.
You're going to get the Bears cycle of misery in the 2010s.
And I want Abdul Carter so bad. Same.
I think Abdul Carter. I think you should draft Abdul Carter. I think he's the number 1 player in the draft.
Yes.
I think it's
the injury concern. It's not a concern for me. It's really not.
No.
They said he doesn't need surgery on it. So people are saying that's the big concern now is that, oh, Abdul Carter has this injury that popped up during the scouting combine. If it doesn't need surgery, why is that big of a concern? How many months away are we from training camp? Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, no, I think
William says one more thing. Hey, I know I'm jumping out the car here, but F the Raiders also. They're so trash, they don't know how to win. And when they were predicted to have the first pick, then they chose to not lose. Shake my head.
I mean, talk about the Raiders. They finally have an adult in the room, so I think they're going to do it
Pete Carroll,
a lot better.
Pete Carroll will bring that organization back to maturity at this point.
Yeah.
Abdul Carter, though.
Abdul Carter, yes. I think honestly, you guys should, if you guys don't draft him, I think you guys are crazy. I think you guys are taking crazy pills. Like, I get wanting to get a quarterback, but again, like you were mentioning, quarterback in this year's draft,
and again,
not that good.
The big thing with Cam Ward, everyone keeps saying this. They say his ceiling is high, but his floor is low. What are you saying about Abdul Carter? What's everyone saying about Abdul Carter right now?
His floor is high and his ceiling is high.
Right? So why are we taking a gamble at that point? Why are we taking a gamble with the number 1 overall draft pick? Why?
Yeah. I also got some when we do our draft show, I've got some theories about Cleveland I think you're gonna find very interesting that I don't want to mention just yet. But
William Keck says Abdul Carter is gonna slide today too.
No way.
Alex Hanley says this guy doesn't know ball. William, I respectfully disagree with that. He's not going to reach day 2. I would find it very shocking if he gets past the 5th pick in the draft this year. It's not. He's going to go very, very quickly.
Yeah, he's going to. Like I said, he's going to be top 4. Like, there's no way he goes past.
Correct. And William said that's a prediction. It could be a bold prediction. I like that. Say bold prediction. I like that. But pick a secondary bold prediction.
Yeah.
Don't pick that one. You can say it here. You're amongst friends. But we will tell you as a friend. Pick another one. Let's go. There's some other names out there. Stephon Diggs visiting with Patriots, obviously. Amari Cooper's still out there too. Elijah Moore probably is the most intriguing to me. He's the youngest in the wide receiver group that's out there still, that's still available. Somebody could potentially go out there and take a flyer on him. Titans. They had Rondale Moore in today. Wrong Moore. Get Moore out of here. Get Elijah in instead. Keenan Allen, old. Injured. Keeps getting injured. I mean, I don't know what else
Talk
to
about
say.
Keenan Allen or Nick Chubb?
I mean, both. Nick Chubb now, he's a free agent, and it looks like I was watching NFL.com, and it said that Nick Chubb is probably best to just stay there in Cleveland, which I agree. I think Cleveland's probably the best place for him to stay. They could probably sign him for cheap too at this point. I mean, just stay in Cleveland. Nick, end your career in Cleveland. Just stay there.
Do like a 1-year deal. This is your second major knee injury.
Yep.
You also injured your Achilles, right? Late in the year this year or something like that, or foot. He had like another injury.
Wasn't it 2 years ago when he had his Achilles injury with Aaron Rodgers? He was training with Aaron Rodgers, or was that J.K. Dobbins?
That was J.K. That was J.K. Dobbins. Because I know he had that massive knee injury last year. That was the big thing. But I think this year he injured something else, and he was out for like a few games late in the season. So I know he was coming back from his knee injury, but I don't know. Again, major knee injury number 2, not good. I think he's just going to sign with Cleveland for another year, get like a last hurrah, and then see how he's feeling. And then
we will. Speaking of last talking points, we did want to talk about the rule proposals, but we're going late tonight, so we're going to hold off on that and talk about it next show we have. But last but not least, Netflix Quarterback Season 2 has been revealed. It's coming back. They had quarterback first season. Last year they had wide receiver because apparently there weren't enough quarterbacks to be featured. They were wanting to be involved in the production of the show. I don't know how true that is, but it sounds like it might be true because one of the quarterbacks is actually coming back from season 1, Kirk Cousins. Hurrah for him. We'll see if he's able to stay healthy this time and not, get a major injury in the middle of the season. Joe Burrow, which will be intriguing. with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins with their new contracts, and Jared Goff. Of those three quarterbacks, which team do you think is going to have the most success on the show?
On the show?
Yeah. Which team do you think will have the most success while the show's being filmed?
Oh, while the show's being filmed, I thought you were just saying like quarterback having the most success. I mean, if you don't pick the Lions, you're crazy. Like the only this is going to be another conversation for a later date, probably before the season starts. But that brain drain with Detroit, I think, could be massive. But if they're able to replace everybody, like how because I think they replaced almost everybody in house, with promotions and that sort of aspect. So I think it could be fine. But that brain drain is going to be massive. So I think that could be like really the biggest team. I think again, Cincinnati about 500, Atlanta. It depends on how Michael Penix does, if he's able to stay healthy, and if what happens with Cousins could be interesting if he does end up getting traded in this during the season, because I know that was like a big talking point because with them spending that much money. But I mean, again, I think it's going to be Goff going to be the most successful out of the three.
They've also said that Kirk Cousins is potentially Justina Anderson. That same report talking about Will Levis actually brought up his name as well, Kirk Cousins, and potential trade talks. So that's something else to keep an eye on as well. Alex said, wait, I thought this was already filmed. They're doing backup quarterback Kirk O'Chains.
Maybe. I don't know. The way they announced it looked weird. It looked like it was like already filmed, but at the same time not.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. They also
those were just the names that were said they were going to be featuring. I again, like Tyler said, I'm not sure if it was actually filmed already or if they are filming it. They might be putting in the final touches on it right now. They might have shown last year. If they show the conversation between Kirk Cousins and Raheem Morris talking about Raheem Morris getting benched, I think that would be crazy.
Great. But also, I was talking about it at work today and be like, if they actually, because they teased it with like the mascots starting point and everything like that. I think if they were to actually do like a mascots one, I think that would be hilarious. Just do one episode of just mascots. That'd be funny.
I mean, there's not gonna be talking going on.
It's not gonna be talking, but who cares? It'd be funny,
maybe.
Or if anything, because I know obviously mascots have like that that sort of like, hey, you can't show yourself, but if they're willing to show themselves, be like, and actually talk about their life of the mascot, I think that would be cool. But
William Keck saying it's been a pleasure, gentlemen. I enjoyed the show and plan on bringing about 10 people in the stream next show. Sounds good, William. Thank you for the support there. We appreciate it. We will look forward to seeing you next time. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting just to watch that, even if it is filmed already. Some of the storylines from last year, especially Detroit getting out in the NFC Championship game the way they did. Or no, I'm sorry, the week before that against the Commanders. Yeah, that'll be really intriguing to watch. So yeah, that's the show we have for tonight. Thanks for sticking with us for as long as you did. It kind of went a little bit longer tonight, but we had a lot to talk about since we haven't talked in a few weeks. Once again, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel, JDF Sports. Also, follow us on all your social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on X, we're on Instagram for JDF TikTok. Sports, and also Out of Bounds TikTok as well. Make sure to be sharing all of our videos from TikTok. We'll be sharing some content there, and also some clips from this show too over the next week or so. So keep an eye out for those. But yeah, we will talk to you guys next time. We will have a schedule out. We'll post next time. We're going to be going live, so you have a heads up on that. But thanks so much for watching again this week, guys. We will talk to you next time right here on JDF Sports.